Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bugrock of the Week episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Village and Pillage update for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. There are a lot of really big issues with the main features of this update being villager issues, pillager issues, and a ton of raid issues as well. So hopefully you guys do enjoy. Some of this stuff is pretty annoying, some of it's pretty small and you might not notice it, and some of it's actually pretty useful as well and is really great for pillager farming. So yeah, maybe you guys will get some use out of this video. Also, if you haven't seen the previous episode of Bugrock of the Week, that is where we take a look at a whole bunch of combat issues with the shield and crossbow. Nothing too massive, but still some weird, inconsistent, strange bugs having to do with those features. So if you're interested in that video, links are where you would expect them to be, of course. But without further ado, let's hop into this Bugrock of the Week episode. So before we just jump into things, if you do have any random little bugs for this update that I do not cover in this video, then do let me know with a comment down below, and I'll be covering a bunch of random little bugs in the next episode of Bugrock of the Week for the 1.11 update. I have a lot of bugs, but if you got anything extra, then throw it my way and hopefully we can cover it. So the first set of bugs that we're going to look at are pillager issues and raid issues as well. There are quite a few raid issues, so let's just jump into it. So let's just go ahead and kill a couple of pillagers and we should see them drop some pretty strange things. So the crossbow, the emeralds, and the arrows are completely normal, but they can also drop enchanted iron gear in the form of iron armor, iron axes, iron shovels, and just stuff like that, just random iron gear. And more often than not, they will drop enchanted things. These guys are supposed to drop the axes, the vindicators, but the actual pillagers don't wear any iron gear. As you can see, we got an iron sword and an iron axe from that, so there are just like a few issues. This is just with looting 3 as well. So of course, as you can see, the normal pillagers with the crossbows are not wearing any iron gear, so there's no reason for them to drop any form of iron gear like that. They should only drop crossbows, but there are clearly a few small issues with their actual loot tables. So here's another raid. Let's just go ahead and kill these guys, and as you can see, pillagers are now dropping enchanted books, which is just all kinds of weird. So that is a knockback 2 book. I'm not entirely sure what types of books they do drop, but they do appear to be fairly alright. As you can see, we got another iron sword, the emerald, and the crossbow are of course supposed to be there, but there are some pretty funky issues with these. We got an iron helmet from that guy, even though he's not wearing one, and then there's a witch over here as well. I think the witches are completely fine. It's mostly just the pillagers and the vindicators that have a messed up loot table. So from just a single raid, I got like 12 different pieces of iron gear that they are not wearing at all. They should not drop these things. And then I also got 1 enchanted book as well. And that is just with looting 3. As you can see, I also got about a stack and a half of emeralds, which is actually pretty good. So pillager farms are definitely like a super nice farm to have on the Bedrock edition, regardless of some funky little weird loot tables. So that last one is actually kind of a beneficial bug where we get something extra out of it in the form of extra gear and even enchanted books, but this next one can actually ruin your raids and cause you quite the headache. So if any of your raiding member parties or anyone from your raid actually goes to the nether, then it will completely break your raid. So as you can see at the top of the screen, it says mobs remaining in our raid 2. So we're gonna go ahead and kill one of those guys and just send the other one to the nether. As you can see, the raid is still going on and it still has 1 mob remaining. So let's go ahead and head to the nether real quick, and then we're just gonna go ahead and kill this guy. So let's go ahead and just kill him real quick and go back through to the overworld, and we'll see that we still have our raid going. After a short while it will show up. Okay, there we go. I finally got the boss bar to reappear. It is actually pretty finicky if you do this twice in a row apparently, but basically what I did is I had some of them go to the nether and then I killed the ones in the nether, and then it is basically now broken. So there was only 1 guy out of 4 left in the overworld. I killed him and it's basically broken on 3 guys left remaining. So this can indeed happen to you in your world. The only way I think there is to actually get rid of this raid, because it's just stuck like this, is to actually go into peaceful mode. So if we just go ahead and do difficulty peaceful, then you'll see that that raid goes away. I'm not sure if there are any other ways to fix this, but Hopefully this doesn't happen to you in your worlds. Again, you definitely want to make sure that you cover up all nether portals in the area before you start a raid. Otherwise, this could happen to you and ruin your raid. So something else that is interesting about raids, and I'm not entirely sure if this is a bug or not, but it is pretty interesting and does allow for a raid farm, basically. So what happens if you are during a raid and you break all the beds is you will basically get another hour and a half of bad omens. So as you can see, we got all of our pillagers over here. The raid is fully fine. Let's go ahead and break the bed. That guy will disconnect. And this is the last bed in our village. We break that, the raid ends, and we get another hour and a half of bad omen. So that is fairly interesting. Basically what you can do is get to the very last wave of your raid without actually completing your raid, and then break all the beds in your village. You will end your raid, still have some mobs left over to kill, so you can kill these guys if you want to, and then you'll get your bad omen. You can place down another bed and basically start another wave of raiding. So it's a pretty interesting way to farm them. It is not AFK, it is fairly manual, but it's still kind of interesting. And due to that fact, I think it is a bug, but then again, this update is very weird with a lot of weird and buggy features, so this might be fully intentional. It would be pretty cool if it is intentional. So you can actually see this happen with killing your villagers as well. So as you can see, we have a raid going, those guys are over there. Let's get these guys into this hole right here. And then we're just gonna go ahead and kill our villagers. You don't need to kill them yourself, they just need to die and basically destroy your village. And once this guy dies, your raid will end and you'll get another hour and a half of your bad omen. So definitely destroying the beds is way easier and way more farmable. But as you can see, just by killing your villagers, you can basically make a raid farm if you have another way to get villagers back into your village. So next up, we have some issues with the Ravagers hitbox. As you can see, he is totally fine, just like chilling out in lava. He is not having any issues at all. So we can even raise him up half a block higher and he is still totally fine just hanging out in this lava blade right here. As you can see, part of his head is literally inside of the lava, so he's really not having any issues. However, if we go ahead and release this lava over here, then he'll finally catch on fire. As you can see, he now actually realizes, hey, I'm in lava, I should start dying. So you can even see it at this height as well. This guy is totally chill, just still hanging out in the lava, which is pretty interesting. It seems to be that their hitbox is only about a single block wide, so if we were to go ahead and nudge this guy a little bit that way, then they would actually catch on fire, as you can see there. But just having the lava on either side of them is typically pretty fine. So yeah, there's some visual issues with this at the very least. So you can see part of the issue just by punching the Ravagers. So the back leg kind of doesn't really have a hitbox. As you can see, I'm punching and nothing's happening, punching in right through the leg. If we punch the torso, then it actually starts taking damage, but yeah, more or less, there's just like no hitbox for the back legs. I guess they're only really worried about the front because that's the part that actually like does things, breaking blocks, extending, munching on things. That is actually quite scary looking. But yeah, there's not really like a proper hitbox for the back end of this guy. So those are pretty much all the bugs that I have for Ravagers, Pillagers, and raids in general. If I did miss anything, then of course let me know with a comment down below and I will try and cover it in the next Bugrock of the Week episode. So there is one big bug with villagers that I do want to cover in this video, and that has to do with them not unlinking from their beds. So villagers are very, very attached to their beds and they barely ever unlink from them, and I actually discovered this while recording my recent Infinite Villager Breeder tutorial for the new Village and Pillage update. So basically what happens with this breeder is the babies are born, they link to their bed, and then they are sent to the nether pretty much immediately. Now what should happen is they unlink from their bed, allowing a new villager to claim it when it's born, but that does not happen. The new villagers that are now in the nether are still claiming this bed, so you need to come through here and destroy your beds every now and again and place them back down, which is pretty unfortunate and makes this not an AFK build, and that also messes with witch farms as well. overall the entire linking process for villagers finding beds is really just super wacky. They can find beds from extremely far distances, and it just needs a lot of refinement. So that is pretty much the most important bug in this video. Please do upvote those bug reports down in the description. So in case it's not clear, the villager linking to beds issue actually creates some pretty big problems for not only villager breeders, but also crop farms, trading halls, and iron farms as well. So this one little mechanic that is super janky and wonky actually has massive implications for a ton of different farms in this game. So please do upvote those bug reports down in the description. And in fact, please do upvote all of the bug reports that are down in the description of the video. And if you have experienced these bugs yourself in your world, then also leave a comment on the bug report as well. Maybe leave some additional information as well if you can. That way we can actually get these bugs fixed in this game, because this game needs some fixes. It's a pretty weird update, and it would be nice to see all this stuff fully functional and nice and clean. So thank you very much for listening to my rambles, and of course be sure to upvote those bug reports. That is pretty much like the most important thing that you can do. That really does help get this game fixed in the long run. But if you did enjoy this episode and want to see more like them in the future, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. And also, if you enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like. That does help out the video and the channel greatly, so thank you very much for doing so. But I will see you all down that comment section and in the next one. Thank you again for watching, and then there was silence.